while you're talking about the heat in Southwest Florida and all the rain that's sticking around there, we're going to watch this front swing through, especially today into the Midwest and in the Northeast, and just plummet those temperatures and drop in some nice, dry, much cooler, below average temperature air. So you see what's going on here. This is the water vapor in our mid-levels. We've got a trough that's swinging through, and then at the surface, a cold front that's making its way through. Little line of showers and storms associated with that this morning. This is going to become more robust as we get some of that daytime heating. That is going to be part of the story today that helps to destabilize the atmosphere ahead of the front and then bring us that chance for some stronger storms. So kicking off your morning with just kind of a thin line of showers and storms moving through. Watch what happens as we get some of that daytime heating, though. We start to see more of those storms bubbling up across Ohio, filling in across the Great Lakes region, northwestern portions of Pennsylvania, interior portions of New York State. We're really watching for that possibility for some of those storms to pick up in strength through the afternoon, interacting with that daytime heating, and that is why we have that risk for severe storms today. Cities like Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, all the way down to Louisville, you have that risk for some damaging winds, maybe a little bit of hail with these storms as well. We've got a kind of interesting setup heading into this weekend for the Great Lakes. We've got plenty of warm water across the Great Lakes. We've also got much colder air moving over those warm waters, so all of that's going to come together and bring us that risk for maybe some water spouts. We've got that upper level disturbance that's helping us get into some of that messy weather pattern that we're seeing. And then water spouts, certainly possible. We know the Great Lakes, no stranger to that possibility of water spouts. But if you are super into watching for things like that, this weekend might be the time to keep an eye out for it. Tomorrow, we've got a widespread rain shield stretching from the Ohio Valley up through the Northeast. But Steph, look at this. Most of that rain clears out by Sunday. Temperatures are going to be below average in terms of where they should be, like degrees-wise, but I would call it above average in terms of happiness. And I think this is going to cause a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a 10.
I know people like to shrug it off, but videos like that just underscore what we're telling you. It is not safe to be out there if you're hearing that thunder or seeing any lightning. Talking about thunder and lightning and what you might be dealing with today. Airport delays looking good right now. Lots of green bubbles on the map, but today is going to be a bit messy for some of our large airports from the Dallas area, Dallas-Fort Worth down through Houston. ATL, you could see some delays as well as over into MCO. Portions of the Ohio Valley once those storms start to bubble up. Your Friday afternoon flights, those flights that you're trying to kick off your weekend, maybe you worked all week, you're getting off maybe 4 or 5, heading to the airport. We could be dealing with some of those storms around. Definitely will be dealing with at least rain and some storms along that I-10 and I-20 corridor. Heavy downpours, guys. We have so much precipitable water or so much moisture in the atmosphere that any of those showers that get going could put down some really heavy rain, even if it's not, say, a thunderstorm. You can see what we've got going on this morning, just a plume of basically tropical type moisture filling in across southern Louisiana, multiple flood warnings up, still dealing with that rain from New Orleans up through Jackson, Mississippi, getting into southeastern portions of Arkansas as well. Jim, we are kicking off our morning with some rain for places like Shreveport and New Orleans. It's fairly quiet in Dallas. We're keeping that rain around for New Orleans into the lunch and the afternoon. We just cannot get this rain out of here.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is stuck, whether you're getting the, it really is. Thank goodness, though, right? Or we'd be flooding big time down
Man, it's like, what is going to clear that out if it were not for this front?
Right?
So we can all say thank you to this next front. Maybe you're not getting the crisp, clear, beautiful Sunday like some of your neighbors in the Northeast will across the South, but it will get better, at least with this frontal boundary. Got a trough that's swinging through in the mid to upper levels. You can see that in the water vapor there. Here's our surface with the showers and the storms kind of along that frontal boundary. You see it here. Not a whole lot of action, just a little bit of rain, couple rumbles of thunder, lightning starting off your morning. It's going to become more widespread, a little bit more robust as we head through the afternoon. We're going to get that daytime heating. It's going to be a balmy day out ahead of the front. You've got those southerly winds influencing your weather, the heat, the humidity, all of that. That front moves through, interacts with that daytime heating, and we get that possibility for a bit more storm coverage and for those storms to be a little bit stronger. So keep that in mind, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. If you were planning maybe your Friday dinner, Friday evening plans here around the Ohio Valley, going to have to keep an eye on that. Pittsburgh as well, because those showers and storms will be around. That risk for severe storms stretching from Erie down through Cincinnati, Louisville, Columbus, all included in that. Maybe some damaging wind gusts, a little bit of hail. Those are our main risks with any of these storms that get going. You can see the rain shield hanging out on Saturday. Storms in NYC, rain for Binghamton, but look what happens as this front continues to swing through. Your Sunday is going to be crisp and cool and clear. So a little bit of a split weekend for you with this front moving through. Around that as you're getting off of work today. Well, if you like living near the water, you are not alone, but U.S. coastlines face a challenging future and even a so-called slow poison. Meteorologist Jordan Steele explains. It's always worth reminding, it's so subjective to how an event impacts each different person, because if your car got flooded and now your car is ruined and now you're dealing with that, then this is a big impactful event to you, right? A lot of us are going to be liking the impacts of what we're watching across the Northeast, at least by Sunday anyways. Okay, so here's what's going on. You're looking at our mid-level water vapor. We've got a trough that's moving through. We've got some cooler air in the upper levels of the atmosphere swinging through. Then let's go down closer to the surface. Here's our front. You can see those showers and storms starting to line up along that front this morning. This is really going to be more of a diurnally driven or heat driven type of storm afternoon. While that front moves through, it's got a little bit to work with this morning, but it's going to have a better chance of getting those storms to spark off off this afternoon. There we go. Spark up, spark off. You know what I mean. The storms are going to start later this afternoon once you get the daytime heating. Some heavy rain, some lightning, some thunder. And as that line is really robust, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, that possibility for some of those storms to get a little bit feisty heading into that 7, 8 o'clock hour from Pittsburgh down into just west of Charleston, West Virginia. Want to plan accordingly. I know it's Friday. I know a lot of us want to get out there and enjoy our kickoff to our weekend, but do know that some of these storms could be packing a little bit of a punch. From Cleveland down through Columbus, Cincinnati, Louisville, you're all included in that risk for some damaging winds. Here's part of our setup that we've got going on this weekend. Warm water across the Great Lakes, and then cold air in the atmosphere swinging over that warm water. All of that is going to come together to bring us that possibility for some water spouts as we're heading through the weekend across the Great Lakes. So if you're into that, you want to get out there and watch that, maybe keep an eye around the Great Lakes for the early part of your weekend. Now, by Sunday, we're seeing this clear out. We've got much drier air building in. And look at this, Steph. These temperatures are a bit below average, but the sun is shining. The air is going to be crisp and clear. It is going to feel, I'd say, what, October-ish?
I think it's going to feel like October early.
All right, it's Friday. Maybe you're counting down the hours to a little bit of a vacation time. You waited. You weren't going to do Labor Day weekend with everyone else. You're like, I'll go the next weekend. Right now, travel is looking fine for you, but if you're taking off a little later, we could have some delays in some places. Lots of green bubbles on the map means green for go. We'd like to see it, but you'll notice as we head through the afternoon, we see those storms bubbling up across Florida. You've got that chance for storms that could delay some of your flights. ATL around Dallas, Fort Worth, down through Houston as well. And then keeping an eye on our airports out of the Ohio Valley, as you could have some of those storms getting a little feisty later on this afternoon. We are just continuing the rain train, guys, across the Gulf Coast. Look at this, I-20, I-10, both going to be a bit of a mess at times today, especially that I-10 corridor through southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi. Heavy downpours. We have so much tropical moisture to work with and have been working with, so flooding has already started to be a problem, and it is going to continue. You see our flood warnings that we've got up there, our flash flood warnings. A plume of heavy rain going to continue lifting north and east toward New Orleans, toward Baton Rouge as well. Right now, just a few light sprinkles around Lake Charles. It's quiet in Houston, quiet in Dallas. Currently heading through your morning rush is certainly going to be impacted by this rain, by that flash flooding, by the ponding on the roadways. It is slowing us down. Meanwhile, you look a little farther west, Dallas, San Antonio, fine for your morning. Lunchtime, many of the same areas still dealing with that rain and that storm chance. Heading into your afternoon, a few showers start to move in around Dallas, but you see it here, Jim, just absolutely no change. We cannot get this rain out of the way, and it continues to add up.
It is going to add up for the next 24 to 30 years.
So what we need is one of the
we can't buy a break in through.
One of those good squeegee fronts, right?
Yes. I think you're going to have one for us.
Talk about, yeah. It's
awesome.
A squeegee front. We like those ones that kind of move through and clear things out, not hang around and cause issues, right? Okay, so this is what we're watching. We've got our trough that you can kind of see swinging through. It's going to be swinging through the Great Lakes region. We're looking at that mid-upper levels. That is one of the weather influencers that we have going on today into the weekend. And then we're also watching this front. Now, you'll notice as you're looking at it, this might look a little wimpy. It's kicking off your morning. But I promise you, this front is going to pick up some steam once we get some of that daytime heating going. And you are going to see the possibility for more robust, widespread storms realized into the afternoon and the evening. So here's 2 o'clock. We've got some of those storms dotting around the Great Lakes region. region. Watch what happens after we get some more of that daytime heating to go. We're seeing those storms bubbling up across Ohio, up through Buffalo, Pittsburgh. Those are knocking on your door as well, 6, 7, 8 o'clock as we're trying to kick off our weekend, right? You're going to have these storms bubbling up, moving through. Some of them could have some gusty winds, and some of those winds could get gusty enough to be classified as severe. So severe storms possible today from Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Louisville. A little bit of hail possible with that as well. And then, of course, the heavy rain that's going to come along with this. So here's Saturday. We've got that rain hanging around. We are seeing that for the eastern seaboard. And then heading into Sunday, that will clear out and we'll have much cooler temperatures. Many of us will be at least 10 degrees below average heading through the weekend. The heat and the rain, though, man, they've had a lot of that stuff. Let's get you out the door in the northeast now, where you guys are going to have some, we're going to need something to come through and kind of change the pattern that we've been stuck in. And this front, it really has the potential to change a lot of things for a lot of people. Now, you're starting to see some of those showers and storms bubble up right now along that front. We've got that surface front that's dipping south and east. As we get more daytime heating, we'll see more robust storms beginning to bubble up. Some of those storms could get a little feisty by this afternoon. So you'll notice we head through your lunchtime, 1 o'clock, not a whole lot going on. And then we flip that kind of daytime heating switch that we see so often around 2, 3 o'clock. And we start to see those storms become more widespread, start to pick up in steam a little bit, some heavy rain, some gusty winds, a little bit of hail certainly possible from Pittsburgh down through Charleston, West Virginia. We're getting into that during the overnight hours. So keep an eye on this. If you have Friday evening dinner plans, Friday night plans, you could have some of these storms hanging around. And as mentioned, for this highlighted area, much of Ohio down into northern Kentucky, you've got that possibility for those storms reaching severe limits. Also going to have that possibility for quite the show over the Great Lakes heading through this weekend. So we've got warm water on the Great Lakes. We've got this trough swinging through. That means cold air aloft. All of that coming together with this disturbance to help bring that possibility for some water spouts over the Great Lakes this weekend. So if that's something that you're into, maybe keep an eye out for that. Now, as we head through the weekend, tomorrow we've got quite the rain shield hanging out across much of the northeast. Storms in NYC, Binghamton. We are seeing from the west really beginning to clear out. Chicago, Indianapolis, you'll start to see things clearing on Saturday. By Sunday, though, just look at this. We've got sun shining. We've got those dew points that have absolutely plummeted, and those temperatures are below average. So you're going to be feeling that cool fall feeling stuff for your Sunday. The rain still to come, not going to be as big a part of the story, I think, as the wind and the cool air that we'll have heading through the weekend for the northeast.
Okay, so let's talk about...
It's kind of analogous to how we feel about the tropical season right now.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I think, you know, all of my meteorologist friends,
right,
we're all making that sound right now. You know, I don't even know what to say about it. I do know what to say about travel, though, and that is maybe you'll be screaming later on because we'll have these storms continuing to bubble up, and that could cause us some airport delays, some roadway delays as well. We know it's Friday. We know a lot of people are getting out there traveling. Across the southeast, you see it here, guys. We've got those gold bubbles because we are expecting airport impacts with all the rain we'll have around. ATL, you'll have those storms bubbling up later in the afternoon. I know a lot of people are trying to get out for your Friday afternoon, kick off your weekend, but certainly have to keep an eye on that. I-20, I-10 are going to be a mess at times. We've got tropical moisture in place, heavy rain leading to downpours. New Orleans, Baton Rouge, you guys just cannot get out of this this rain, but especially this heavy rain. We've watched the swath of moderate to heavier rain lift north and east, and now that's impacting you there for portions of New Orleans. We've got flood warnings up. There's going to be ponding on the roadways. I want you to be careful as you're heading out. Taking a look at this flash flood warning along I-20. So I-20 is included in this. Jim was pointing it out earlier. This line of storms not really moving. It's hanging out. Now, I will say, luckily, it's drifting south just the tiniest bit, but not enough to make a huge difference. We're still seeing that along I-20, so the cities of Forest, Meridian, Newton, you've got that flash flood warning until 12 o'clock. That is going to slow you down, Jim, with the ponding, with the rain coming down, and then, of course, the tropical downpours are not going anywhere.
Yeah, 2 to 4 inches of rain.
Okay, so maybe you held out on your travel last weekend because you're like, I don't want to deal with the Labor Day weekend mess. I'm going to go the weekend after. It's Friday. You're getting ready to take off. We might be dealing with some storms that could be impacting you across the Ohio Valley, up through Cleveland, Erie, getting in on this. Some of those storms are going to have some damaging winds, but that is going to be a later afternoon thing. So I'd say keep an eye on those flights if you're planning on heading out after work or driving. Either one. You can see some major thoroughfares here are going to be impacted by those showers and storms moving through, heavy rain at times. Starting to see this line become a little bit more spread out, a little bit more robust here, moving into northwestern portions of Ohio through Indiana, but we are going to see this increase even more heading through the second portion of the afternoon. We've got that moisture input, that warmth input with those winds coming out from the south. As that front begins to move through, you'll start to feel that wind shift, and we'll get those storms bubbling up, and some of those could reach severe limits. We're talking to those damaging winds, maybe a bit of hail. You can see it's becoming a bit more widespread into the evening and early overnight hours. Pittsburgh, if you're planning your Friday night plans, keep an eye on this. You don't want to be out and about in that rain and getting caught in it. As we head into tomorrow, the rain becomes more widespread across the northeast, and then eventually it clears out. We have a beautiful Sunday, but we've got to deal with rain for a little while longer, guys.
That we do. Well, let's take you to the Pacific